right, guys, this is KMKanDrum. This is another episode of Q&A with KMKanDrum. And today I have Zax Drums, which your real name is Zachary, over in Germany. How are you doing, Zax?
Not too bad. How you doing?
Pretty good. So, Zax has a really cool channel. First of all, it's really cool that you have, and I wanted to ask you about this before we get into the interview. You have this huge flat screen in front of you, and I've always wanted to know what's up with that flat screen. It's kind of like, it's weird.
Okay, it's actually a normal TV, and most TVs always have the outputs or your inputs for a computer on it. And since I switched into my bar room, I didn't want to bring an extra screen in there. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna hide my computer behind it. Now I have it on the floor, but like I said, I had it at the first part. I always had it behind. I just hooked up into the TV, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna use this for my screen. And then, like I said, no one has that big of a screen anyway, so it's kind of unique, I guess.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's kind of like it's hard to, focus on just you, which is not such a bad thing, like it's good to focus on you, yes, but it's also it gives the viewer something else to look at, because a lot of times, like, there's guys like Marco who have the bird's eye view, and sometimes you're just kind of focusing on other little things, and then you get back to watching Marco. For your channel, it's cool to be watching you, and then all of a sudden you see this big screen, and you're kind of like, oh, what's going on there? So it's just weird. I'd never seen it before, and I thought it was like really cool. And I wanted to ask you about it. But in any case, this is Q&A with KMKanDrum. We've got Zax, and I just want to know if you're ready for some of these questions that I got.
Go ahead, shoot them. I'm ready.
Cool. And I think right now it's 3:40 in the morning over there.
Exactly. I am just sitting here at work and waiting for 6 o'clock to come so I can go home and get some sleep.
Yeah. What city are you in?
Right now, where I'm working at is Heidelberg. I'm actually where I live is between Heidelberg and Mannheim. Those are two fairly decent, well-known cities in Germany.
Yeah, I'm in the graphic design business, so Heidelberg, that's where like all the main presses come from.
Heidelberg Druck machine is the company I'm sure you're referring to.
Oh.
They make the big printing machines.
Yeah, the big 5-6 color presses, and even bigger than that. Yeah,
they're located in Wiesloch, which is about 15 minutes away from here.
Oh, cool! That's awesome. I've always actually wanted to go there because my dad, for the longest time, had a graphic design business, and he had a press guy that was actually from Heidelberg, Germany, and we had a Heidelberg press in the warehouse, and he had the heavy accent, and I just, ever since I was a kid, I used to go there, and then I worked there for a long time, and yeah, I just wanted to go there and see what it's like. So that's really cool that you're over there.
Right? The world is pretty small, right?
Yeah, totally. It's really cool. Okay, so let's go. The first set of questions are drum-related questions, so they should be somewhat, I don't want to say easy, but maybe we'll open up the conversation a little bit more, because that's the thing that we have in common most, and then hopefully down the line with these other questions, we'll find out more that we have in common. But so for the first 3 or 4 interviews, I stuck to the same 6 questions. So I've kind of changed it up a little bit, and I've added questions to these categories. So instead of sticking to the same questions, I'm going to kind of just like pick and choose whichever I feel are I guess, pertinent to our conversation. So I'm sorry to bring this like little bit of a curveball to you, but hopefully you didn't like plan answers to the questions that I've asked the other 3 guys.
No, I didn't plan, but you have kind of like your what if he's going to ask this, and what if he's going to ask that? So it's like you're kind of not prepared, but you kind of have like an idea, maybe.
Yeah.
So it's okay. It's all cool.
Cool. All right. So I'll try to keep it pertinent and as easy and fun. Main thing is just to have fun. So the first question I like to ask everybody, because I think that answer is always going to vary no matter what. Drums is such a super hard instrument to learn, and it takes a lot of commitment. And I just want to know from you and all the other drummers and musicians in the future that I ask, how long have you been in this relationship with the drums?
Okay, so mine is kind of like in a way on off. I started when I was 13. My friends, they were playing guitar. They were really way more advanced. They were already playing for like a year or two, and we wanted to start a thrash band, you know. So, and they needed a drummer. I was like, okay. I had a paper out, and I said, okay, I'm gonna get some drums, and I saved up, I think $300, and I went to the music store that was closest to my house, and he had a whole bunch of used Japanese 1975 Japanese imported drum sets, and with some cheap cymbals. It was a sparkling blue. I think everyone had sparkling blue back in the day because I mean I think that was like the most common color, and it was, I think my first one was, it was a 4-piece, but then I always added something to it. I ended up adding like a second tom, and yeah, because it was a one on tom on the top and one on the floor, and then I had the second tom, and then I got another bass drum, so I had like a 6-piece, so I could play you can't play thrash if you don't have a double bass.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I started taking lessons from actually a guy. He's like, okay, in this drum store, he's like, well, or in this music store, he's like, there's this drummer, and he was like a blues jazz drummer, and he kind of told me, I went to him, and I took lessons for about I'd say almost a year, learned a lot of the basics, and he's like, I just wanted him to, teach me songs. He's like, well, I'm going to teach you stuff that you can like kind of learn on your own, So it's like he didn't want to do, just show me right away, Metallica songs. Like one of my other friends, he ended up getting a drum set, and he ended up jamming with these 2 other guys also as well, because of the fact that his drum teacher taught him songs right away, and mine was trying to teach me more technique.
Yeah.
So like I said, I took those lessons for a year, and then came in other stuff where I started playing golf, and I kind of like concentrated. And like I said, with my house, it was always kind of the same thing as like where I'm at now. Like I just can't play when I want to. Like I said, because the fact that my mom was home back when I was a kid. Now it's like my wife, she doesn't really care too much for my drums, so that's why it's like also with practicing and everything. But like I said, and then like I said, I sold them when I was 17. Like I said, I needed money for my car insurance, and like I said, I played them more at that time, more as like in a kind of like go down there, just go on them, just jam a little bit, and that was pretty much it. And then after, when I was 17, the next time I think I got on a set of drums again was when I was in the Army. I was in Kuwait. I was telling you this earlier. I was in Kuwait for about 2.5 months. In those 2.5 months, I had 2 days off. One day was at the end, and one was in the middle. And that day in the middle, they took us, they took us to a place where it was kind of like recreational. And we got, there was a room where they had a bass guitar, a guitar, and a drum set. And no one else wanted to play those drums. But I was like, okay, I stayed in there. I think that whole time we were at this place. I'm not sure. I think they called it like a palace, but it was just like a nice, really nice house. But like I said, I played those drums pretty much all day. And I am just one guy who was like, well, try to do this beat, So I even you think I even learned a beat there, because the fact that, I haven't played for so long, And yeah. And then when I was still in the Army, but then came over here to Germany, I didn't get a chance to get on the drums, but this one guy told me, said, hey, you can beat on anything you want. You can beat on your steering wheel. You can, just as long as you keep on doing it. And so it's like, that's what I do now. It's, either my steering wheel or my work desk. I play YouTube videos. I drum along to almost all you guys. It's like
nice.
So, yeah, and that's pretty much how I get more practice than what I could if I, because I can't just play at home because, like I said, I have a situation where it's, I have other people in the house. They don't always want me playing, even though it's the rubber pads. Those things are actually, pretty loud. They're not as quiet as most people think. So, and then 2008, I had a chance to also jam with some dudes. And at that point, also, I wasn't really to the point where I can actually. I had the chance where I, for about a couple weeks, to play and to maybe try to learn some songs. And I think I learned one song. It was like a ZZ Top song, I think. But I never got a chance to actually play with them. So it's like actually playing experience in a band. I don't have nearly as much as like a lot of the guys. And then this drum set, I end up getting in 2013. I think at the end of 2013, exactly. Yeah, going on to 2014. Because the fact that I had, can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I got out of the job that I was working for a long time, and I got a severance pay. With that severance pay, I told my wife, I said, I'm getting a set of drums. We live in a
Awesome.
townhouse. Like I said, she didn't think it was awesome. She was all bit. Like I said, I got those drums, and that's when I actually, because of the electronic drums, it made it easier for me to put the headphones on and to put the music on to either hook up to the computer or to the what I think I had an iPad at one time, and my tablet, and like I said, it just made it so much easier to learn the music, and that was like it's like yeah, that was like really for me a thing that really started kicking off the YouTube thing is like because I saw other people they had simple setups like I think the biggest one is Josh Steffen at one point all he had when he first had was actually one camera before he had all his mega subs like I said he just had one camera and even Jason Osan he's out there in Colorado. I saw his video and he had the electric drums. I kind of like, oh, well, yeah, look at all that stuff you can do with electric drums. It's like there's
Yeah.
those two guys like I saw them and I was like, good man. Then they're totally two different style drummers, but like one is playing electric, one is playing the things. But the one had the kind of like the simple setup. The other one had the e kit with the great videos and everything. And I was like, those kind of gave me the idea. That was kind of like how I got into the drumming. That's kind of like my history of drums. So it's like I don't have like a constant relationship.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, I was actually talking to Hube. I hope I always think that I'm like messing that up.
That's right. That's like a name from Holland. Hube.
Yeah. So I was talking to him last night, and yeah, he's very similar to you. Doesn't have the same quiet experience, and like it's not like he geeks out on the drums. He doesn't know all the big drum names and the lingo and whatnot, and that's totally fine. And I was saying to him, like there's a lot of guys like that in our community, like and other guys that have only been playing for a couple of years, yet it doesn't really matter to me at least what your talent level is or what your commitment is or how much knowledge you have, because we're all brothers. We're all part of this community that kind of looks out for each other, and just know we just like do it just to have fun. So to me, it really doesn't matter. Like, I'm not going to judge whether or not you know this drummer or I know this drummer. Like, to me, like a lot of times when I see shows or I see people talking on the street, and a lot of people like to like name drop and say they know this or that and whatever. And I'm not the kind of guy that's like that. I just like to talk and find like a commonality and kind of just go from there, as opposed to this whole bravado thing of trying to make it seem like I am better than I am. So in that sense, like these interviews to me aren't looking for the virtuoso drummer. You can find that on YouTube all over the place. Me, I'm more looking for, like I was telling Cube last night, it's more about, we have the drums in common, but we have so much more that we don't know about that I want other people to know that, we're about drums, but we're about so much more. So that's pretty much what's going on here. But I mean, your answer was amazing. I mean, it's very in depth, very into your past, and it gives you a good picture of who Zax the drummer is so far. So, and that was just one question. I got like maybe 4 or 5 more. So,
Okay. Yeah.
So here we go. Okay, let's see. Oh, so here's a good one. This is one that every drummer can answer. Wood or nylon tip?
Actually, right now I'm playing the nylon, but I think when I was playing back when I had an acoustic kit, I didn't like playing the nylons or colored. What was it colored? Did they have colored? They had the colored sticks. I didn't want to play the colored sticks because they always marked up the. Even I think there's the nylons also. They marked up the cymbals, and I'm like in a way someone like a neat freak. I like things to be looking clean, and the only reason why I'm playing these sticks I got now is because the fact that I was even breaking wooden sticks on my e kit. And that's probably means I'm probably hitting way too hard. But like I said, every now and then, even though it doesn't look like it, a lot of people say I look like I'm a robot playing a toaster or something. I've had this said to me on an email, on a YouTube comment.
Jesus.
I am playing passionately. Like I said, it's just that I concentrate because the fact that I want to do my best. Like I said, and like I said, I got these head sticks. They're I think aluminum shaft with a polyurethane cover over them, and they have the nylon tips. And I've had them for over a year now. And like I said, I'm totally satisfied with them. Like I said, nothing. Like I said, I mean, and I don't really think I play too hard, but I mean, a lot of people say hey, it's heavy hitting. It's like, but I think I'm playing kind of somewhat. I'm not gonna say soft, but I'm not like really thrashing on them. Like I said, I'm just getting into it. That's my way of getting into it. But a lot of people say you look stiff and everything, which I don't care. Like I said, those YouTube comments go one ear out the other. You know what I mean? So
yeah, you gotta have thick skin when it comes to being on YouTube. People are gonna just say whatever it is that rolls off the top of their head.
yeah.
Okay, so cool. What about, let's see. Double pedal or single pedal?
I got a double pedal. That was also one of the things that my wife, she, like I said, she kind of accepted the fact that I have those things. She didn't really like that I have them, and I was like, I wanted for Christmas from Amazon. I wanted a gift certificate because I saw the double pedal. All my stuff, I try to always keep everything in the budget because if I say hey, I want this most expensive pedal for hundreds of dollars or euros, my wife's gonna just freak out. So it's like, I try to find something that's in price. I got a double pedal. It's pretty much what I wanted. I had to actually, damn, it's like I wanted a double pedal. My double pedal was just cheap, and I think I paid. Uh, right now it's going for 80, but I think I paid 60 something.
Wow,
And it's
that's a
holding up.
great price.
And it's holding up. You know what I mean? But that's like I said. That's even with other things. Like I said, I play golf a lot, and I just bought a new golf club the other day. And I told my wife, I want one of those for 40 euros, brand new, and and like I said, it's the same thing. Like I said, I could hit it because I know how to play golf, and like I said, I was totally satisfied with it. And that same thing was with that pedal. It's like I playing a good. The double pedal's not making expensive, but it does its job.
Yeah, yeah, I'm the same way. I like I feel like I can get the most out of mid to lower level stuff. I don't need the pro stuff. I don't even know if the pro stuff would make what I'm trying to do that much better. Like to the point where it would like make me want to spend that much more money. So to me, yeah, like bargain shopping, totally makes sense. Especially because none of us, this is just a hobby for us. So none of us are making any money off of it.
No, definitely not. And I don't. That was one thing with the whole YouTube thing. Like I said, I've never even wanted to try to monetize anything. Like I said, it's not never. It's just a thing to show people. Hey, first of all, I want to show myself that I can play along the music, and then I also I like the interaction with people. I've learned a lot. From sound to actually playing. Hey, a lot of people told me, hey, you need to start working with the metronome because your timing sucks or something. It's like
Jeez.
so. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, so it's like and that's you learn. I mean, so it's glad sometimes you have the comments where it's like they tell you, hey, go back and try to do something this or do that, and like I said, that was something that's I did, so
Yeah, I mean, as long as it's constructive. I mean, nobody's perfect, but there's a way I think to tell people that they're doing something maybe not right, or maybe they could be doing something better. Just some people just have no tact. So those guys, like, I just like don't listen to. But if you have something constructive and you do it in a positive way, then of course, yeah, I'm gonna listen to you.
right.
Cool. Do you have a favorite YouTube drummer?
I don't say I have a favorite because the fact that there's so many good ones. I have people that like I said, the main guys from our community. Like I said, when I see their videos, I try to click on them as much as possible. The thing is, I don't have the notifications going on because I have so many YouTube channels I subscribe to, way more than what I have as subscribers. I wish I had as many.
Yeah.
But it's like there's some that it's like I would like to weed out, but that's just way too much of a hassle sometimes. But
Yeah.
like I said, I don't have a favorite one. Like I said, this thing I like. I learned from all of them. That's like like because you play so much different styles of music. I like to watch your channel. Hoob, he also plays a whole bunch of different style of music. I mentioned Josh Steffen earlier, also, or Jason Assant, from Beats by Jade. Like I said, those guys, I've watched them for years. Michael Perry, Mark, Burgrave. Like I said, and just like I said, I don't have a single one there.
Yeah, it's pretty hard. I don't think I'd be able to answer that question either. Do you play Guitar Hero or Rock Band?
No, never have. I don't even know. I wanted to actually try to hook that up to that big old screen in the back somehow. But first of all, I think I would need a PlayStation 2 because we have a PlayStation 3 and a 4, and I think they with the PlayStation 3, I don't think it works anymore. I don't think, or I don't know. I never got in. Like I said, the answer is no.
Yeah, me neither. Okay, last one. I think on the music side, if you could play any one famous drummer's kit, whose would it be?
Oh God, that's a good one. Probably Neil Peart, because if I just he has he has the electric parts in it, and he has tons of cymbals, and like I said, I think Neil Peart from Rush, like I said, that would be because it just and it looks amazing normally, like I said, so I would say his probably.
Yeah, that's a great answer. I would love to play on his set. Cool. Yeah, that was great. Okay, let's go to the next set of questions, which is job related questions. These are it's like a role playing game that I like to play where I play the employer looking for an employee, and you are a prospective employee looking for a job. So I guess answer these. You can either answer these in the workplace type of scenario or in a music place type of scenario. It really doesn't matter to me.
Okay.
But so if I were to ask you, what are your strengths? What would you tell me?
Yeah. Okay. This is pretty. I'm reliable. Like I said, this is something that punctual, reliable. Like I said, I'm easy to get along with. Like I said, I do like to argue sometimes, but like I said, if someone proves me wrong, then I will admit that I'm wrong, and I'll say, hey, I'm sorry. Like I said, so, but I think reliability is probably got to be the main one. It's also like if you ask me you need help, and I definitely have time. If it's a thing that I can come, like with a worst case scenario, if you need me to come in earlier or whatever, or you need me to do something, normally if I have time and it's possible, then normally I do it. So it's like I think the reliability would be the main thing, and I think when you go to drums, also, I mean, like I said, there's where the strength would be is I if I'm trying to learn something, I try to put my 100% into it. Also, it's like I don't want to do half-ass shit. Like I said, at first when I started out, you can tell from my YouTube channel, it's like progression in all ways. Like I said, I've with the drumming's gotten better, the sound, the video production. Like I said, I'm always trying to figure out. And like I said, this was also where I got tips from people. And like I said, it's the constant strive to get better. Also, those are kind of like some of my things where it's I want to get better. It's not like I'm satisfied with just that one thing. You know what I mean?
Cool. Awesome. Yeah, those are great qualities. So, what about any weaknesses? Do you have any weaknesses?
Yeah, sometimes I'm impatient or that I like to argue. That could be also. Like I said, I mean, yeah, this is something, and I don't like it when people like in my job where I have to be relieved before I can go home. And if someone's not as punctual as me, like I said, or if someone's sick, this is somewhere it's like, to me, I'm not like someone who's sick, and so it's like I don't have the sympathy for that, and like that would be a weakness because it's like you got to try to because I was actually in a supervisory position before, and you got to say hey, okay, thank you for letting us know that you're sick, and please get well, or let us know when you come back, and hope you get well. Those kind of things were like hard for me at one point. Like I said, I've gotten better with it. I'm not in a supervisory position anymore, but still, it's like it's kind of the showing the sympathy for the other person, that to accept that, not everyone's like me, that, like I said, I haven't been sick since 2012. So.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. I mean, I've had, a cold or whatever, but, because a small cold, it's okay. My head has to be underneath my, thing for me to go to the doctor.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. At least you recognize some of your weaknesses and are fixing them and are cognizant of them. Most people, they don't even know like what's going on with them.
Oh yeah, no, that's true.
What is your dream job?
Oh, yeah. I would have to go back to probably. This is one of those things where I was younger. I think when you first started out playing drums, I wanted to be like a drummer. It's like being a thrash band. That was the main reason. But then I kind of started playing golf, and like I said, golf and drums are my two biggest passions. Like I said, when it comes to hobbies and things I really love to do, and golf is in a way kind of like a little bit over the drums. Like I said, because I got really good quick. Also, I mean, with drums, I didn't get good quick because drums, I think it takes a little bit more time because you got to, more parts. I mean, your body is also involved in golf. But it's like it was way easier for me to invest time in golf. So I think something in the golf industry would be like my dream job, like either in teaching. Like I said, I like to help people. Like I said, I pass also when it comes to drums. Also, I pass on the knowledge that I've learned so far, even if it's just a little bit of knowledge, if I found a way I could help somebody, I was willing to pass it on. That's the same thing as with golf. Like I said, I liked also golf teaching, like, working in a clubhouse would have been also a great job. Just something along those lines would have been probably my dream job, actually.
Huh, that's awesome. That's interesting. The common thread I've had in all four or five or shit, it's been 6 interviews now. The common thread that I've had in these 6 interviews is that every drummer that I've interviewed so far has said that they love to help people, and I think that's awesome. That you can add that to one of your strengths.
Yeah. One thing about that question though is what I realized is when I see people and they hear that they've actually accomplished it and they are doing their dream job, is that they never gave up on their dream. And that's where majority of the people, I think, what is it, 80% or maybe 90% of the people work in jobs that they don't like. It's because of the fact that they just gave up. And that's where, like, if you read the biographies about people, you realize, all of them, they just, even if people are told them, you can't do it, they didn't give up. They did it. You know what I mean? That's where I think, where sometimes I wish, I mean, I have a good life. I'm not going to complain about that, but it's like, sometimes you think, what if I would have did this differently? What if I would have concentrated more on that? Sometimes there's always that what if. I think most people think sometimes like that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I totally agree with you. I'm in the same position where I'm very happy, but there is always what ifs. It will go back to when I was a kid. There's all kinds of what ifs. So. Yeah, I think it's just part of being human and also growing up too, like sometimes you have to grow up and you have to let go of certain dreams in order to fulfill more practical life situations, and then that's not always a bad thing. Especially like if you want to have a family and do that whole thing. Certain things like, I mean, granted, all the drummers that are out there now, professional drummers, I'm sure most of them have families and I'm sure they're doing well. But for the most part, like I couldn't even imagine being a touring drummer and having to leave my baby. It would break my heart. So that's kind of what like a sacrifice I'm willing to give. Like, not that there's anyone knocking on my door to go tour or anything, but
right. Okay.
It's just like one of those things you just kind of have to let go and be okay with it. And I think because we as not just drummers but just as people are decent people, we're able to find other avenues and still be successful even though it might not be our dream job.
Right.
Cool.
And I also think what also is to make the best out of, like what you were saying, is to make the best out of the job that you're in. There's a lot of people they do a job even though they don't like it or maybe whatever, and then they are always down on themselves. This job sucks and everything. Like I said, that doesn't do nothing for you. My dad told me something when he was here in 2011, and I thought it was the best. He said that he was working with it. He was probably already retired at that time, but he was saying before he retired, he was working with a younger kid. And he was like, "Oh, this job sucks and everything." Always down on himself. He said, "Hey, dude, you're going to be doing this for the next 40 years. You have to work probably, so you might as well just turn that frown upside down kind of shit, and just make the best out of it, And that when he told me that, I was like, you know what, that is really great advice because I mean, nothing's gonna make it better if you don't make it better for yourself. You know what I mean? So you got to try to make the
Yeah.
best out of the situation. You know what I mean? And that's where I
Yeah.
think even with my jobs, I mean, okay, this job I'm working at now, I'm really, I'm really satisfied with it. And the job before, I mean, I had maybe one or two things I didn't really like about it, but it's I've always tried to, make the best out of the jobs. Make it fun as possible. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Totally. That's awesome. Yeah. Oh,
Mm.
it's a good way of looking at things. So okay. So where do you see yourself in 5 years?
I hope I just started this job, so I worked my first job when I got out of the army. I worked that for almost 15 years. Like I said, I wouldn't have left if the army didn't leave my area. So like I said, it wasn't that I was unsatisfied with it, but like I said, now I see. Okay, I mean, I can do jobs that don't have to be direct with the U.S. Army anymore. So it's like if I'm still working this job, it'd be okay because the fact that it was a progression. Like I said, I finally in doing the working in a job where I can use the qualification that I did before I got out of the job working for the army at that time. Like I said, I think if I'm doing that, and you know, everything's at home, everything's going good and everything. I think that's what's fine. Like I said, right now I'm at a place where I like it, and like I said, I don't see myself. I don't want to go back to doing kind of like supervisory position jobs anymore. Because the fact that I did that for 13 years, and I realized the stress that it put on me. Like I said, I was like, and I'm glad I got away from that. That was about 5 years ago when I came to the other job. Like I said, this is like I said. I think if I'm here in 5 years and I'm still, liking it as I am now, that's probably I'm okay with that.
Awesome. Cool. Uh, do you have any mentors?
Like people I look up to, or like people that are helping me, or how you referring that?
Yeah, a little bit of both. Anyone that you would just like to mention that has helped you along the way to become the person that you are, I guess.
I'm okay for this one. Back to drums in a way. I think I had. I think that Hoop. You mentioned him earlier. He kind of helped me. Kind of said, hey, stop doing only propane covers. Like do some other. And then Michael Perry, he kind of like pushed me a couple years back to kind of get my sound quality up a little bit better. He's like, I think you could do better. I think you could maybe try to do this. Tony, he was always kind of like helping, trying to get me involved in this stuff. Tony Hammerline, I think that's how you pronounce his last name. Drum Man 190, he kind of pointed me on the direction of trying to do drumless covers. Like I said, I didn't.
Hmm.
I think I was playing for about a good 2 years doing covers where I even tried a drumless cover. Like I said, because the fact that I was like, oh, dude, I mean, in a way, you're playing your own thing, so it makes it actually in a way easier because you don't have to try to go over something. But still, it's like if you don't really know the song that good enough, it's like so I have to learn a little bit more. But it's like I think the covers and the qualities. Other than I've had this year, I had two covers where yeah, one the Kiss cover what didn't really go so good. Like I said, that one kind of like some people said the timing was a little weird on that one. And then my last the Nirvana cover, one dude said only one was weird. That's why it's sometimes I'm not sure what to believe. You have 20 or 30 comments saying hey this is rocking, and then you have the one guy who says hey I think you need to work on timing. I know this song great, I know this song perfect, and you're just totally way off. So and then I go back and look at it, and, I see where the cymbal crashes are at, and everything's kind of you sometimes makes you double think, but it's like I think even watching your covers, like I said, our Michael Johnson, MJ drummer, I even helped him with with his sound at one point when he first started out because he had something it was like kind of like had too much bass or treble in the mix or something. It was just and I passed it on to him. But like I said, so those like I said mentors I would say would be kind of like those people who I mentioned. Like I said, people who kind of helped me and pushed me away in the drumming thing. Yeah, and
That's awesome. It's cool that you mentioned those two, especially because I've been able to interview both of them. And Michael, part of the interview, he was saying how kind of kind of like what you were saying, how you like to argue. He didn't put it that way, but he basically said if he sees something that is wrong or that he thinks is wrong, he's gonna tell you, not because he's trying to put you down, but because he wants to help and make you better. So right. I thought that was an awesome thing that he said. And then Hugh was basically the same thing. He was talking about how he just does drumming for fun. He can't, like, most people have this stigma, especially non-drummers, that drummers drum when they're angry just to get all the aggression out. And Hugh is totally the opposite. He can only drum when he's like in his happy place. So I think that kind of feeds off of the whole mentality of just trying to be in this nice space, this headspace, and giving that to other drummers, other people. I mean, it's evident when you watch his channel. It's he's like happy all the time, and it's infectious. And I think it helps. Right. You say it's helped you. I know it's helped me for sure. And just those two guys, mentioning those two guys, I thought it was interesting because I feel the same way. Like they kind of not just do the drumming thing, but they also kind of lead by example.
And with Hoop also, like I said, I know he's told me also. He's told me before, like when, like I said, being like honest, but like you said, being fair, honest. You know, not like being like like dickhead honest. You know what I mean? There's two kinds of ways. You know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, like you said, and he's been honest with you. It wasn't up to snuff. It wasn't up to par. It could have been better. And like I said, I think that was one thing. I think sometimes I've gone always by the principle. I try to find something nice to say about someone doing the cover. Like I said, I mean, not like I said, if the sound qualities are the picture, a lot of times I have some people that I have in mind that they're picture quality. So I don't say anything that the video is good, because the fact that I think with modern day, like I said, I do all my covers with this phone right here. That's all. That's it. So. And most people have good smartphones. Most people got rid of the dumb phones. No one has the dumb phone. Yeah. So, like I said, that's where I try to tell them, hey, do you have the option? I mean, not everyone has a smartphone. There might be some, but I said, I try to tell people, hey, if you have the option with the smartphone, try it. Like I said, the video quality on these things are great anymore. It's like you don't need to be back to 2002 or whatever. I'm not sure when 2008 maybe. I'm not sure when the smartphones came out. Eventually, just everyone had one.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it was actually like pretty recent. I think maybe like you're saying 2008, because I remember I was still playing in bands back then, and people still had flip phones, and that was how a couple of my solos when I was back in bands and playing stupid drum solos, they would record them on the flip phone. So the only footage I really have is like this tiny, like 320 pixel footage of you can't even see because it's so blurry. Right. But yeah, once I stop playing in bands, the smartphone comes out and the high resolution comes out. Maybe it's for the better, because I don't think anyone would want to see that crap anyway. But yeah, it was around like 2008, 2009 is when everyone really started to get on that smartphone kick.
Yeah, okay. Now, I disagree with you. I think a lot of people would like to see you, because the fact that you have so much experience, because you played in so many different styles. I mean, because you play so many different styles of music. And I mean, I know you have so much influences, because I've heard that you said, I think your uncle was out there doing a session drumming, but you've like played in a lot of punk bands, which was like one of the reasons why. I'm not going to say, like, when you play even the softer stuff, the lovey-dovey stuff, like I like that also, like I said, because I listen to the drums then. Like I said, this is one thing. Because this one thing my wife thinks, she's like, I can listen to everything. Yeah, because I tune out the other shit that I don't like I said, but I listen to the drums. And the drums I like, and most songs, because you can play drums, to like a pop song, but you could put those same kind of drums in a rock song a lot of times. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I at least that's how I see it. Like I said, I'm pretty sure that's you have your 2 and 4 beat, and you can put that almost on in anything. You know what I mean? So. Yeah. And like I said, that's. But I think a lot of people would like to see you in those live situations. It would be cool, like I said. But the thing is, in good quality. Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, cool. This is awesome. I love these things, man. They really show the personality, I think. And it's really cool. At least I think so. Like getting to sit down with you and all the other guys that I've been able to sit down with so far, it really just goes deeper than watching a cover. And I think I'm hoping at least that people feel the same way, that they're getting to know you better, and maybe the next time they see one of my covers or one of your covers or Hube or Michael Perry or whoever, that they don't just see this block of person, this hunk of meat playing the drums. They actually see you as a person. So I'm hoping that's the case.
One thing though, Kelly, someone's gonna have to do an interview with you to get you. I mean, I know you kind of open yourself up also in these interviews, but someone's gonna have to do the reverse thing sometime for you, because the fact that the people can like learn even more about you. Because I mean, you kind of like give some of yourself in the conversation, but not. So I hope someone's gonna do the question and Q&A for you.
I mean, maybe if I wouldn't say no, but definitely, yeah. I don't like to do too much of me in these conversations, because it really is. You're the guest, I'm the interviewer, and I'm trying to extract from you. And I think sometimes you have to give a little bit to get, but I want to get more than I give in these things.
I understand.
Okay, so I think I've got one last question, and I haven't asked this one yet because I don't feel like I've gotten the right person for this question, but I feel like I've gotten the right person with you. How would you fire somebody? Or if you have fired somebody.
I'm trying to think. I've had to let people down from interviews before, like I said, because we had some people come in, but those are pretty easy because the fact that the guy came in and already tens of excuses saying why he couldn't do the job. So it's like you had to tell somebody. I mean, but I don't think I've ever really had to fire anybody. Like I said, I've had to maybe tell somebody that they are getting fired, or if they don't correct themselves, that they might get fired. Like I said, the best way is to no matter what, the person's going to take it the wrong way. Like I said, it's like what did I do wrong? I'm not. Most everyone gets then off the offensive. So it's like I mean, I would get also that way. Shit, I'm doing my job. But best way is to definitely is to probably try to be so compassionate. Like not escalate. Try to keep the thing down. Like I said, but sometimes it get heated. Like I said, but you don't want it. You want it to to stay cold. You don't want to get heated. You want to keep everything normal. Like I said, and try to be as as nice as possible about it. Like I said, because the fact that this is you're messing with someone's livelihood. So if you have to let them down, you have to let them down as nice and easy as possible. Like so that'd be the thing. Like I said, that I don't. I'm trying to think if I ever had to. Because I had to. Position where I might have had to let someone out because the fact that we had the thing we were working for the Army. So if the Army said you couldn't work there, then you couldn't work there. So my company my company didn't have nothing else in this area, so you had to tell them, hey, I'm sorry, And I think I might have had to do that once or twice when I was working as like the assistant for the site that I was working on. So like I said, I might have had to do it once or twice. So
that's a great answer because as an employer, I would like to know that the people that are underneath me that need to be managerial, they're gonna do it in a ethical fashion. So that's great. Okay, so this last bit is supposed to be the most fun, but I know you're happily married, so instead of speed dating questions, these are kind of more just like get to know you questions better.
Right.
Personal, fun, get to know you questions. So,
right.
Again, I've got a whole slew of them over here. I'm looking at them on my second screen. I'm just gonna like pick and choose some of the ones that I think might be best for you, or maybe just more interesting. So the first one I'm gonna say. Do you like coffee or tea better?
I can drink both, but I definitely drink more coffee. Like I said, coffee is, like I said, in the morning, or since I work a shift, like I said, tonight before I came to work, I had 2 cups of coffee. I woke up, I had 2 cups. So I would say definitely coffee, but I can drink a cup of tea from time to time.
Great. Okay. Do you have a favorite book?
Favorite book? I've read quite a few books in the last. I wouldn't say I've read quite a few books. I'm more like a person that when I get a book and I'm getting interested into it, then I don't put it down until I'm done. But like I said, I don't have a favorite book. Like I said, I like reading. I can say a favorite type of book. I like reading biographies a lot. Like
Oh, great.
the last book I read was one about Seve Ballesteros, the Spanish golfer who died of cancer a couple years back. He was really influential golfer, and I read, about Metallica, about the bands. I read about Anthrax, Ozzy Osbourne. That was a funny book. Like I said, I read his book was just hilarious. Like I said, so I would say more. I can say type of subject that it's my favorite. That would be biography. I like learning about the people, and about the way that. And there was the same as with the golfer, as with the singer, like Ozzy Osbourne, or the musician, or whatever, with the dreams, and just following their dreams. That was kind of like what or Johnny Cash. I read his book also. Like I said,
Yeah.
that was it was all the same. It was the same thing that they didn't give up on their dream. It's like, and they just kept whatever their that was put in front of them. They kind of just pushed on forward, and still kept at it. And like I said, even though sometimes it was really hard, but they still kept on doing it. And that was like the main thing that I see out of those books, and trying to make the best out of everything. You know what I mean? And just don't get. I mean, okay, I gave up on the main dream, but there's other dreams. Like what I mean? To
Yeah.
be to be happy. That's also something to be, and that's also don't give up on that. So
Yeah. Totally. I mean, I'm right there with you. I was telling Hugh last night. I kind of actually opened up in that interview. He, um, I guess, I guess I can say it because this video will come out after his video, but he's
right,
actually a therapist, and so he does a lot of listening. He helps a lot of people, and he was saying that, and I basically opened up to him. I told him that I have a really uh, not checkered, but like a past that has a lot of ups and downs, and really a lot of people that don't hit, like, because I've hit rock bottom, at least what I think is rock bottom. Anything underneath that, I don't even know what would have happened to me. So I was able to recognize, oh my God, I'm in a space where this is not good, and I need to do something about it. And I was able to, right the ship, so to speak. And so a lot of people, they don't know how to kind of step out of themselves and see like what's going on,
right,
and they kind of take for granted certain things like happiness.
mm-hmm.
And for me, I'm like totally happy. I've never been happier, and in fact every year it gets more and more happy because I'm always able to look back at that low point in my life and be able to just be like, okay, if I don't keep going up, that's where I'm going to end up again, back down there. So I never take for granted how happiness makes you feel as a person, and also how it reacts to other people, around you. And so to go what you're saying about like having new dreams and different dreams, like maybe when I was 18, 19 years old, yeah, I wanted to be this huge rock star. But now, literally, and I know it's cliche, but my dream is to be like the best father that I could be. That's like my ultimate dream.
No, like I said with that. I remember when my daughter and my son were born. Like I said, that's actually where the thing where they say true love. Like I said, first love at first sight, and it's instant. Like I said, because
Yeah.
you have to. A normal person, like I said, there are some people that are not normal in the head, but a normal person when they have when they have this situation, they come in this situation, and then you instantly that this person needs you, and you need to be the best for that person. I mean, every now and then, okay, you might have a bad day, but like I said, you still you love those people, those kids, the best, and like you said, you want to be the best you can. Like I said, my kids, like I said, my daughter will be turning 20, and my son will be turning yeah, he's 15, will be 16 in January. So it's like, like I said, you're never done. That's one thing also where like I think the difference between at least kind of where I come from, like I said, it's like when you're 18, you leave the nest and that's it. It's like you're on your own. You know, And over here, it's like my wife, she's she's an only kid from her parents, but it's like we go to her parents like she talks to her mom every day, and like I said, we're over there constantly, and like and they've helped us out tremendously. It's like over here, it's more like you're never done with that job because you're always going to be their parent, and
Yeah.
there's always something you can probably help with. Okay, a lot of times we've been helping them, in the last, I had to go over and help them hang up some well, I'm not sure if you want to call them curtains, but like a one shutter is kind of like a shutter that goes on the inside of the window. Like I said, so I had to do that. So it's like it's a vice versa kind of thing. But like I said, it's definitely like I said. I think happiness and like going back to the happiness thing. If you're not happy, you can't make other people happy. You can, like I said, I think you got to be happy first. You know what I mean? Before,
Yes.
yeah, I mean it's important. Like people forget that. It's like, well, I'm trying to make all these other people happy, but if you're not happy, you know,
Yeah.
it doesn't bring nothing. Like I think it's a lot of people forget that. You got to make sure you can't be you can't be an egoist, but you have to still think, hey, I gotta be happy. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah. I
important.
mean, I totally get it. Like my wife goes through a ton of stress with her job all the time, and to the point where she'll come home and she'll be stressed out, and rather than unwind, she goes straight to the baby and tries to take care of her, and then the baby can feel the stress and she gets stressed out, and it's just kind of like this snowball. And I always tell her, uh, put your oxygen mask on before you put hers on. That's what they always tell you in the airplanes, right?
Yeah,
So
that's true. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and that's what I always tell her, and it always seems to like kind of knock her back into to sanity, I guess. And yeah, it's just like, okay, yeah, that's right, you're right. I gotta just like unwind for a little bit. She'll go and she'll like do the dishes, or she'll do something mindless, and then in
Mm-hmm.
10-15 minutes she's like perfectly normal again. So but
Right.
yeah, it just goes to what you said. You have to be happy first before you can be happy.
With
Or
with with the thing with your wife, there's also one of the things. I'm not sure where I heard it from. There was maybe it might have been somewhere I read. Um, People that have a lot of stress at work, they have a tree out in front of their house or some kind of object where they go to that thing, they hold on to it, they talk to it or whatever. They tell them that stress before they go inside their house. That's kind of the same kind of thing. And then if they want, they can take it in the morning with them again, but they put it there before they go into their normal environment. Like it's just one of those kind of things where it's like you just said, it's like before you come in the house or before you actually start getting involved in the family, calm down or find some other way to get that out before you put it out on other people. Because I mean, some people you come home and you're stressed sometimes,
yeah,
So yeah.
totally awesome, cool. I mean, I don't even remember what the question was. That's I love I love how these interviews, they all like kind of everyone goes off on tangents, but it's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. It's you start with one topic, you kind of organically go to other topics, and it just turns into this blooming flower of a conversation. I just love it. I think it's so awesome. Um, so here's another question: do you stick to routines, or do you kind of go with the flow?
Nah, I think also from when I was a kid, we had a routine, and like I said, I am kind of like, I mean, I don't have like a day to day routine, but I have like a thing, because I have to get up because I have a job where I have to be at a certain time, so it's like I have a routine where I, like I said shortly before, I have to get prepared so I can leave at the house at a certain time, and like I said at work, I also make kind of like a schedule where I'm working, that things my things I have to accomplish before I can go home, from work. So, like I said, so I would say more of a routine kind of a person, like I said, and I think also going back to the golf situation, golf is a game with a routine. I was telling this the other day because I took my daughter's friend with me, or with her boyfriend with me. The first time he's ever played golf, I said, hey, even on the putting green, I think everything's routine. You have, like I said, if you don't do I mean, I think drums also. I mean, you have to learn the routines, otherwise you can't play the basic. You have to learn the basics before you can do the other thing, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
and like I said, so I think yeah, definitely routine. Like I said, I think also that way it's not as chaotic, and if it's not as chaotic, your day is more structured, and I think that also helps you. Because if you're chaotic, that causes stress. And like I said, I try to minimize my stress. That's why I try to come to work earlier than right at the last minute. So then I come in, then I have time to ask the person I'm relieving, say, hey, what's going on? Is there anything new? Is everything okay? Okay. Then once he's done, he can go early. Like I said, it's a bonus for him, and I'm not stressed. That's a bonus for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Awesome. Cool.
yeah.
Well, there's this question: do you play any sports? But obviously that's golf, so I'm gonna skip
I
on
play
that
other
one.
sports. I did play other sports, but like I said, golf was the main one. Like I said, if some people don't consider golf a sport, but like I said, I mean, like so when I was a kid, I played basketball a lot. I used to skateboard. Like I said, that was one of those things. And BMX biking, like I said, when I was a kid, that was like how I spent my summers up until I started playing golf. Is like I was skateboarding. I would consider myself an athletic, outgoing person. Nowadays, where I see my kids, it's like always on their smartphone or on their PlayStation shit like that. I get frustrated a lot because it's like I can't imagine, and I hope that you can get that it doesn't happen with you and your I know your baby. She's only like what 5 6 months old. It's a girl, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah. Like I said, and so you have this all ahead of you, like I said, but it's hard because the fact that you can't force it upon them, but it's like you want them to go out. Like I said, I was constantly outside. I mean, it's like it was the worst for me if it was rain outside. I mean, in winters I went snowboarding. I mean, even in Iowa we could go snowboarding, even though you don't have mountains in Iowa. But like I said, I went snowboarding. I mean, that was And when I was young, we always went sledding and shit. Just went out and had a blast. I was out all day. When I was with the skateboard, I was out through the whole town. My mom said her friend saw me miles away. It was like, what? She's like, how the hell did you get over this? Yeah, with my skateboard. So yeah, I was very, I would say very athletic. Like I said, I played basketball a little bit in grade school. And baseball was your couple other conversations. You guys are all big baseball fans. That was one thing I could never get into baseball. I don't know why. Like I said, basketball, yeah. American football, I thought was always a great sport to watch when you're like in so like when you're in company of other people. Like so that's over here. They show actually a lot of the game, not all the games, but they do show games. But it's like has German commentating because the
Okay.
German they used to have the NFL Europe, and the Germany was like the big part of NFL Europe. But it's like American football. I just can't watch it by myself. But soccer, for example, I also I think I talked to you before about soccer. I mean,
Yeah.
over here, German foosball. You know what I mean? Like I said, I have a favorite team that's right in this area, and like I said, I played a little bit indoor with my old neighbor. Like I said, that was like it was in a small gym, and like I said, it was really fast paced. Like I said, at first I was like just dying. My face, I was like, like I said, it took a while to get the conditioning because the fact that it's like it was really just back and forth. It was kind of like doing what they called in basketball when you did those sprints where you like went like from one line to the next line to the van
Oh
to the
yeah,
van.
yeah,
You know what I'm talking about? The killers.
Yep.
I think called them killers. And like I said, it
Okay.
was like it was like those things. Did you ever have to do those? Did you ever play sports where you had to do those?
Well, I play hockey, so we go from blue line to goal line to red line to
Okay.
blue line. Yeah, so similar things.
Okay, hockey I thought was also very cool, but like I said, yeah, it wasn't. We didn't have the indoor ice rinks like now they do. When I was a kid, like you had a chance to play was. I mean, it did get cold in Iowa, but like there was ice hockey wasn't really up until I think the '90s, where they ended up getting like a ice hockey team in my area and everything. Where they had I think the one of the Continental. I'm not sure what the Continental was basketball. They end up making some smaller league hockey
Mm.
teams. Like I said, over here in Germany, where I live is in Mannheim. They have the team that just won last year's championship. I like watching the hockey over here because the fact it's totally. If you ever get a chance to watch a German hockey game, you'll realize one thing: the crowd goes nuts. They bang on drums and they
Oh,
have certain
cool.
cheers and everything. Like you don't hear the dun 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 charge. I
It's
mean,
all
it's
the
like
fans, right?
they're going nuts. Like I said, they're like all beating on their thing, just like kind of like in the soccer arenas. You know what I mean? It's kind of the
Yeah.
same thing. Just the ice hockey fans, they're not as much hooligans. They're more, they're better. So they said I like playing sports
The
and I
more
like also
civil.
watching.
Cool. Awesome. Great. Yeah, that was. See, again, that was the question I was just gonna like not even ask, and that kind of went in a really cool direction. Um, okay. Do you have? Oh, here's what I want to ask. Do you like camping or staying in a hotel?
Okay, camping. You mean like in a tent kind of camping, or do you mean like in a camping?
Not
I've never really done. Yeah, go ahead.
Not glamping. Glamping is like a cabin or.
Okay. Then I would say for the fact that we've go on quite a few vacations, because over here in Germany we have quite a few vacation days, and here you have automatically 30 days by most jobs.
Wow.
So camping was never something we really done. We've did the mobile home in Croatia 2 years. That would be almost 3 years ago. We did that. That was really cool, but because it wasn't a hotel, you still had to cook your own food. Had to go grocery shopping and shit. But we're mainly doing the hotels. Like you said, we'll be going on a cruise for the first time in a couple of weeks. And that's something I'm really looking for, because actually going to countries that I don't think I would ever have gone to. We're going to be going to St. Petersburg. We'll be we're going to Helsinki, Stockholm, and Tallinn, which is in I'm trying to think of the English name of Iceland. What's the name of the country? I'm gonna have to look. Give me a second. I have to look. But like I said, that's something I'm really looking forward to. Is hopefully the screen's not gonna change. I'm trying to think Iceland in English. I always forget. English. There we go. 1 second. I want to say that right. Estonia.
Oh, Estonia. Okay.
Cool. And the town is Tallinn, is what they call it in German. Whether or not that's the same name in English, that's just sometimes I forget like the names. I'm actually doing really good in this conversation, so I haven't had that too much. Yeah.
Well, if you go to Helsinki, which I think is Finland, right?
Right.
I think Cried drummer. He's not in Helsinki. He's in.
I know we have some people that are from Denmark. From Denmark, but I'm not sure if they're in the community or if they're in our like WhatsApp group. But I know that there's some that are from Denmark, and one's from Sweden who I have contact with quite a few. Oliver, I think is his name. I'm trying to think what his drum channel's called.
Oh, okay.
Do you know Oliver Sandberg? I think his name, but I'm not sure his drum channel. I can't. Like I said, it's kind of phased me. Pride drummer though. Are you sure he's from Finland?
Yeah, Cry drummer. He's damn, I can't remember the city. Not Helsinki. It's I think it's like oh man, it's gonna kill me. But in any case,
it's not Oslo is in Norway, so it's not Oslo, right?
No, not Oslo.
Like I said, because Helsinki, there's only like one other bigger town other than Helsinki. I mean, from Finland.
Turku, Finland. Turku.
Okay. See, helped you.
Yeah.
Just kept on talking.
Yeah, I was talking to Hugh yesterday, and I think going back to the dream question, one of the dreams that we both have, and I'm sure like all of us as a community share this dream, is to be able to all rent out a bar or someplace like central and all meet and have a drum set in there, or maybe 2 or 3 drum sets, just to like talk shop, get on the drums, and just hang out. I think that's probably one of my dreams that I have out there that I really I'm trying to throw it out into the universe and see if it like manifests itself.
But then the bar has to be all inclusive, because otherwise it's gonna be way too expensive, I think.
Yeah.
At least with me, like I said, with the beer or maybe even some wine, but like I said, definitely the beer. I don't drink too much of the hard stuff, but the beer, like that's normally, if it's a good beer. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that goes for. I'm not too big of a drinker, but I'm sure a lot of the guys are, can put a few away. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna get a little bit weird here, but it's all part of the getting to know you better. Do you take? I'm just gonna say it. Do you take hot baths or showers?
I don't think I've moved into my new house 10 years ago, and so it's no longer really new, right? And I don't think I've ever been in the bathtub since I've been there. So I would say definitely showers. It's not a weird question. Like I said, I think you either have the people they like to sit in their own dirt, like I said, like the ones that, I mean, okay. I think if my back was hurting, I think because I used to have back pains. Every now and then it comes. Like I said, it's okay to like sit in the bath because it helps with the back or something. Like, I mean, or if you want to relax, I think But I'm like definitely a shower person because the fact that it's get it done over with, get yourself clean, wash it all the way. Like I said, my wife, for example, she'd much rather take a bath because she shave her legs. She said it's much easier. She doesn't like doing standing up and everything. She's gonna like. I think she's majority of the last 10 years has been in the bathtub. So I mean,
Yeah, I really think it's a I don't even know what they call it anymore, whether it's gender or just it's a gender thing. Like my wife, all she does is take baths. She doesn't ever. I don't think we've been in our house for 3 years. I've never been in the tub. She's never been in the shower. So
okay. Well, then,
yeah,
with my daughter though, for example, she has her own bathroom upstairs, but it has just it doesn't have enough space for a bathtub. She normally goes in the shower. Like I said, I think in the last couple of weeks I saw her go in the bathtub, but like normally she's also been more of like a shower person. Like I said. Like I
huh?
said it does. I think it depends on the person, but I think you're right to like maybe majority of the population anywhere. I think the women go more in the bathtub than the men. I think definitely.
Yeah, I imagine like I'm less surprised that women take showers. I'm just waiting for one of these guys that I interview to say
Say
that.
yeah, I can imagine that. Yeah.
All right, cool. Last question. I think I know the answer to this one, but you never know. You can always be surprised. Are you a meat eater or a vegetarian?
I don't think I could live as a vegetarian. Like I said, I had when I was in the army. I saw this girl. She was always taking these vitamin supplements, and her skin always looked bad. And actually, I had a friend also who was actually the godmother of my daughter. She also lived a couple years. She's no longer practicing the vegetarian or vegan lifestyle because the fact that her skin got all bad. Like I said, it's like I said, I think there are people that maybe they can do it well, like I said, but I think there's other people that I think you just need, the certain proteins and vitamins you can get out of meat. And for me, like I said, I think, yeah, I don't think I could. I mean, there were some times where he's like, God, I don't want to eat this, same meat all the damn time. You want to eat something different, something fresh, like a salad. Sometimes maybe, it's that you have those periods, but like constantly, I couldn't imagine it. No, it's definitely would be meat. Like I said, I mean, over here in Germany, anyways, I mean, you have, your Schweine Schnitzel, your pork tenderloins, and stuff like that. So it's, you just, and then you have always the great sauce with it. The Jaeger Schnitzel is probably the typical one that most Americans, when they come over, they got to eat it first. It's the one with the mushroom gravy sauce. Like I
Oh
said, if
God, it
you talk,
sounds so good, man.
if you talk to Marcus though, Marcus from Austria, or from Mark from Austria, over there they eat their Wiener Schnitzel. It's Kalb is veal. Veal is
Oh, okay.
cow, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, their schnitzel is that, but they don't eat it with sauce. And it's the big difference between the German and the Austrians.
Huh. That's crazy.
I mean, you can order it there also with sauce, but normally that traditional the Wiener Schnitzel is what they call it. You've probably heard the term Wiener Schnitzel.
Yeah.
That's with a schnitzel without sauce. Like I said, over here it's like my father-in-law says a German man. He always tells me this German man gotta have, because I also eat with a lot of sauce. German man's gotta have a lot of sauce, and so gravy is what they call sauce over here. Gotta have that on your schnitzel and on your meat. So
That's
definitely
awesome.
meat. Yeah.
We have a beer hall over here in Philly, and they it's kind of like it's like an open marketplace sort of, and they have stalls where they have different types of beers, but their main thing is schnitzels and hot dogs and that kind of like German food. And I've always like I just go over there and I don't really know what to order, so I always just end up ordering a pretzel because
They're also good. They're also good. But this is one thing. The pretzel, actually, the big one, is actually more typical to southern Germany. Like if you go up to the northern part of Germany, they have you can get them nowadays. But it actually was more like a southern German thing. In fact, Bavaria
yeah,
is with their big old Mosskrug, the leader of beer, with then the pretzel, in the one hand. So you got a hole like that, and you got the other one.
that's awesome, man. It makes me want to go to Germany. I've never been. I've only been to Europe a few times, in Portugal and France. So I wanna go to Germany, I wanna go to Italy, and I wanna make my way over to the UK and Ireland. My wife is her ancestors are from Ireland, so yeah, there's still some places that I want to go, and hopefully I'll be able to take Hana over there and meet you guys, have some beers or something.
Yeah, one thing that's also here in this area is also not only the beers. Actually, in the area where I live is where actually they have a lot of wine, which is not like
Oh, great.
Germany. Most people don't think of Germany as like a wine place, but they actually have a lot of wine. They actually, this is one of the things where like I said earlier, with beer and I also drink actually wine. But the thing is, over here in America, the way I drink wine would be called white wine spritzer. So it's like it's like you think of the small glass, but over here, the area of Germany where I live is they drink it in like a 16-ounce glass.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean it's like, and you have, and they say in this glass you have, say your glass is that big, you have up until here the water, and then like I said, you have more wine than you have water in there mixed.
Huh. Wow.
Yeah, so yeah, like I said, it's that, and they have one of the largest wine festivals. Actually, it's about just a little bit smaller than the Oktoberfest. It's right before the Oktoberfest over here in this area, also, and the oldest wine festival, the largest and the oldest.
Wow. Yeah, I'm gonna have to tell my wife. My wife's a wino, so she'll love that.
Yeah. So
Cool, man. Yeah, I mean, I think this was an awesome interview. I hope that people get to know you more and appreciate your channel. And yeah, I'm just so glad that we were able to talk. It's you and I have probably interacted quite a few times over, I would say, at least a year, maybe even almost 2 years. Like right away when I first started my channel, it was a little bit over 2 years ago, and there was a core of like maybe 6 or 7 guys that I got to know right away, and I know that you were one of them. So it's been almost 2 years in the making. We actually finally get to talk face to face, and yeah, it's awesome. I hope you had fun doing this.
I want to also say thank you also for including me. Like I said, and also it was also my pleasure actually, and it was a pleasure to get to know you also this way. Like I said, and like I said, I was yesterday when you wrote me, I was like, oh, that's cool that that you actually want to include me in your in the Q&A series here. And like I said, I thought I had a great time. Like I said, the time flew by. Like I said, I only have an hour left before I have to go to before I get to go home from work. So this was great. So
Cool.
like I said. I really appreciate it, and like I said, I had a great time. It was a good time talking with you.
Awesome, yeah, man. The best thing about these things is that we're getting to know that a lot of us have other things going on in our lives besides the drums, and basically, what it's kind of leading up to in myself is I'm starting to realize that I really like doing this whole. I don't even like to call it interviews anymore. I like to just call them like what they are, conversations.
Right.
And I would say, I talked to Michael Perry about this, and he was saying how I was telling him a third of the conversation is about drums, and then 2/3 is just like a personal type of thing. And he said, well, you should probably think about cutting that even more and making it a quarter drums and 3/4 of just like talking personal stuff. And it really like I really took it to heart, and now I'm thinking about in the future, once this has kind of run its course, of actually doing something where I just talk to people, and it doesn't have to do with music, it doesn't have to do with anything specific, and it's just talking about just everyday type of things. So yeah, when that time comes, I probably will be calling you again, man.
Cool. All right. I'll look forward to it. And like I said, I appreciate it. And we'll keep in contact through the WhatsApp also. Yeah.
Yeah, through the WhatsApp, through our drum covers and our videos and all of that stuff. So yeah, for sure. I mean, we'll be talking all the time, man.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
All righty. Take it easy, man.